Hello all, welcome back to my channel. Hope all are good. And today we are discussing the topic of IAM. In this video we are discussing the topic on IAM on theory basis, and in the next video we will discuss on practical. Before deep diving in the topic of IAM, let's start understanding the what is IAM. IAM, which means like identity and access management. Okay. Before understanding of what is IAM, we will take into a small example so that it will help you understand. Suppose a organization or a company was established, or you can understand a startup. To understanding ease of what is IAM, I am taking a good example so that it will help you understanding. So we are taking as a one startup company which they are using like AWS services. So, and they are holding only one account, one root account. So they have to distribute this one root account to other members in the team. So why they have to take one root account? So it will help us to do building, controlling of access to of the team members, and help us to building also, it help and control access to team members, and other thing also they can have permissions also, they can easily like security access privileges also they can give, least privileges, whichever the member they want to view they can view, and everything they can do from one account. If it is like a startup, they usually maintain, and if it is one root account, they have to distribute to multiple groups. You can understand what is group in terms of like if the group it is maintaining database, this maintain application, suppose it is EC2 and they are maintaining this Kubernetes services, EKS, and other thing. So basically if the group in this group they are maintaining of database, they need permission for S3, and if the team is like a manager team, they need access for all the groups, whichever the group, this group 1, group 2, group 3, they need all the accesses, whatever access or anything they need access. So in this group there will be multiple users, because usually user 1, user 2, user 3. Similarly here also user 1 for this particular group of application, user 2, user 3. Here also same, similarly user 1, user 2, user 3, and same. I think you will got understanding what is like root account, what is group, and what is user. Group is like a particular access for particular application, like any database or anything. In that particular they used to control members. So you can understanding users come into list in the downside, upper as like groups, and above as like a root account. So instead of any one member came into access, join a company, instead of giving policies for particular, we can access the particular user into group, and we can access policies for this particular group. So instead of giving each and every one the policy, we can assign whatever the policy is required for this particular group, and then we can add that particular person into this group, so that whatever the policies apply into group is already given to users. I hope you understand. So here we understand what is group and what is we can understand what is user, what is group, and we are to understanding these three things. what is roles, what is policies, what is authentication and authorization. Before starting into role, we have to understand one thing, like role is like a temporary permission. Why we need this permission? See, suppose in AWS services, take an example as EC2, and it has to talk with the S3 bucket. Even in the both are into one similar one account only, but if the EC2 instance want to talk with S3 bucket, they need roles. We have to attach the role, then only it will possible to talk EC2 instance with S3 bucket. And one more thing you have to remember, only role doesn't help you to communicate with EC2 to S3. We need to attach policies, then only it is possible to talk EC2 instance with S3 bucket. What we are discussing here, we are attaching the policies here into group level so that it will apply to user. Similarly, if the EC2 service which want to talk with S3, we need to attach role. Here we are taking group, here we are taking role for services which one service want to talk another. Similarly, here also, if the group level wants permissions, like whatever the discussing attaching want applicable to down level, here we are attaching the policies. Suppose you are attaching S3 AWS S3 full access, so that the users will be do all the management anything inside here. So here one service want to talk another, inside like role we are attaching the what are required policies. And we can talk authentication, authorization. Authentication means similarly, suppose any Facebook login, we are giving like username, password. We used to go into inside giving, even if the both are correct into sign in, we need to remember one thing. After accessing inside the console, we can give permission for particular whichever the access console. Suppose we want to give particular permission for only messages or any other thing, inbox or something, we can disable here. I am talking about the thing in terms of like Facebook or any company management account. Suppose if the particular, even if the authentication for username and password is correct, doesn't mean that you will get all the authorization. If the user here we are giving only for permission of S3, he can only access S3 even if the authentication for this user is correct. If the authorization is not correct, he don't get the permission for other services. Here why we are talking about the database for this group user. So here even if the enter into username and password for this account, he don't get the permission for other services for EKS and EC2. Why? Because he doesn't have permission for do all the other operations. What we are discussing means, which we are talking is authentication is similar like a login, password and sign up. For this user, if he entered, he will get authentication is right, but when comes to authorization, he only access for database. See, if you want to try this, if you want to try to communicate with, if after entering into login and password, if you want to try to access EC2, he don't get, because here we didn't given the permission for after login, he didn't given the policies for here, so he didn't get. Similarly, it applies to other things. Hope you got understand what is the IAM theory. The main thing is here these things. We can understand what is the use. See, basically the main purpose is security and compliance. We can control the user whichever the policies is required. It helps us to management the policies, and also like we can do MFA, means multi-factor authentication. So IAM is in the login and password. After login we can give like much good security, like much better security, like we can give MFA, like password, multi one time password, or something which they can help us to do, which gives us security, lot of security. And also it helps us to integrate with other AWS service, what we discussed before, like role. For this role, like what I discussed, like temporary permission for one service to talk with another service, what I discussed. So we can control one service to another service, giving like we can halt our security also, we can give it whichever required, we can give here the role with policies. And so that it helps us to do control the integration of other services whichever we want to talk. And hope you understand what is IAM. And if you got any doubt, you can comment in the comment section, and I will discuss you what are things. And the next video we will discuss IAM practical, so I will help you to understand. And before that, please subscribe to my channel, like, share and comment, and share with your friends who want to learn AWS services.